A good Saturday morning, everyone. Meteorologist Braylan Hardy here, going to break down the extended forecast here on the stream. So, well, if you love the heat, well, it's still here in central Georgia today. Well, we're slowly warming back into the mid-90s, very similarly to what we've done over the past couple of days here in central Georgia. Still have a couple of heat advisories in place, well, just one rather. They're all of central Georgia that really encompasses the rest of today and even in through the evening hours and nighttime hours through tomorrow. So just with the heat, that's what we're getting here this time of year. So watching that here today, but continuing to warm into the mid-90s, afternoon rain chances as well. But we'll break all that down coming up in the next 20 or so minutes. So here's where we currently stand here as I get the stream ready to go for you. I'll take you to the graphics here. So this is currently, well, with the rainfall here as we had there, well, here in central Georgia yesterday. So we had, well, some pretty impressive rainfalls, I guess, if you want to call it that here. Some areas, you know, you saw upwards of maybe an inch or a little bit above an inch, especially there in Jones County. And then some areas, well, like we were watching with Friday Night Football over in Washington County, actually didn't really see any, well, accumulation with the 24-hour rainfall totals as you see here on your screen. And, well, somewhere around an inch over in Butler on the Taylor County border there. So upwards of a little bit over an inch. And then down in the Abbeville, Wilcox County area, that general area as well, that's kind of, well, same situation as what we've seen in some of our northern counties, around that inch mark. So not really too impressive, I might add, for rainfall totals, but nevertheless, it cooled it off in a lot of areas in central Georgia yesterday, thankfully. So we'll continue really today, that same old summertime pattern with the pop-up stuff in the afternoon and evening hours. That'll cool it off very similarly to yesterday as well. But this is currently what we're looking at with all the different sky cams here in central Georgia. Mainly clear skies, a lot of that cloud cover that we started the day with starting to lift in a lot of our areas, thankfully. Some events going on down there in the fairgrounds in Perry as you look down there, and then down in Warner Robins. The sky cam's now cleared up finally as we've had a lot of moisture there in that sky cam. And over in Lawrence County, still seeing the flag over there in Dublin. So still bringing the heat there in Lawrence County. That's always the warmer spot. So let's jump right on into, well, temperatures here throughout the, well, the majority of the southeast. Where you see mid to upper, well, 80s in a lot of the southeast, and you get into the lower 80s, upper 70s as you go more north and east up towards Indianapolis and, well, over to the Midwest up around Denver. So really the big reason that this is the case, and the reason a lot of these temperatures are generally within the same range. We have a big dome of high pressure actually just sitting on top of us, but I'll get into that in just a second. But zooming back here into Georgia, you can see mid to upper 80s for the temperatures, and, well, not a big shocker. You can see 90 over Meridian, Mississippi, and, well, 86 over in Columbus, 88 down in Valdosta, closer to 90 down in Tallahassee. We'll be watching that one as well move up. But here back in Macon and all of central Georgia, still, well, mid to upper 80s, 81 there, looking like the cooler spot showing off for my people down in Eastman and Dodge County, and, well, looking like 85 over in Butler as well, 87 up in Jasper County, 86 over in Vidalia. That's a little bit outside of our county, our viewing area rather, in Montgomery County. So 88 there in Dublin and Lawrence County. That's always the warmer spot here for the sensors that we had in central Georgia with the amount of moisture over there in that area. And then 86 up in Wilkinson County as well. So you get the picture here, mid to upper 80s. Well, you know just as well as I do, that will change towards the afternoon and evening hours. Now, wind, not really a big factor here right now. Still coming out of the north and west. That northwest flow is what really is going to impact the amount of moisture we have in the air. The mid to upper 70s for the dew points still showing off strong over there in Lawrence County. Not a big shocker there. So 72 looking like the cooler spot. So it's not too bad down in Telfair County, McRae, Lumber City, that area, and moving on into Hazelhurst. So lower 70s for the dew points there. You go up top, you're still in the mid to upper 70s up there in Jasper County, and lower 70s back towards the west in Taylor County. So that's currently what we're dealing with all the current stuff. Now, feel like temperatures, well, also not a big shocker to see 103 out there in Lawrence County. Still the warmer spot, as I've said a couple of times, and that's still the warmer spot here today. 85 down in Dodge County. That's the cooler spot for the feel like temperature. So don't fret just yet. You will most certainly see the triple-digit feel-like temperatures here today, as we are still under a heat advisory. That goes from the noon hour here, so in the next hour or so, to around 8 o'clock tomorrow night. So here's the big takeaway with this. Feel-like temperatures upwards of 105 to, well, 110 is what I've seen in some model runs, but this is what the National Weather Service, what they're going with. They're saying, hey, 105 to 110, that's the general range for the heat here in central Georgia. And really just going to continue to watch that through the end of this weekend and into the beginning of next week. As you'll see on the 7-day coming up shortly, heat, well, it's not really disappearing from the forecast either. So that's what we're dealing with. Still have that big heat advisory here today. That's one of the bigger reasons that we are warm. So hot and dry again today. Very hit or miss showers and storms. Hoping to get out of here a little bit quicker than what we saw the past 2 nights, especially with football Friday night. Much of anything fizzled out around the 6 or 7 o'clock hour, so right before kickoff in many places. And then the day before that, had a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings in the early afternoon hours. So what we've been really going through with the summertime pattern, you get the pop-up stuff early in the day, and then by the evening hours, most of the storms, they don't really have a lot of fuel to tap into. So that seemingly we're hoping to be the continued story today, but nevertheless, it is summertime, so you will have that chance for some hot hit or miss showers and storms. So a scorcher, might I tell you, that's not a big shocker either. Heat index is easily 100 plus through the weekend and into the beginning and middle of next week. So we'll continue really just to track that each and every day with the 100 plus feels like. Now, you get the pop-up showers and storms, it cools it off in a lot of areas in central Georgia, and that's where you get a lot of temperature differentials, very similar to what we're seeing down in Dodge County and Lawrence County. You can see an 85 versus upwards of mid-90s. So that can drastically change, especially with rain-cooled air. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, why is it so hot right now? Why are we experiencing mid-90s and then warming closer to, well, triple digits? Well, here is why. You take a look here at the surface map, you can see the arrows actually pointing from the north and west. That's showing the flow of the wind. I'll zoom out and show you what's going on in the upper levels of our atmosphere. As you see here on your screen, you can actually see, as I get the pointer ready for you, you actually can see this big dome of high pressure. That is going to spin in a clockwise motion, and a lot of that is really going to just usher a lot of moisture in from the Midwest and from the Gulf all around central Georgia. That's what's going to cause that northwest flow as it's spinning on that clockwise rotation. So basically, I say that to say the high pressure sitting on top of us, that is what's going to really increase the drier air, which makes, well, we know how that plays out, the increased temperatures as well. So a lot of moisture being ushered around with that high pressure, keeping the temperatures in the mid to upper 90s. And then we also have this little fella up here. We have a stationary boundary well to our north and, well, for the time being, west. And that's what's increasing a lot of rain and a lot of rain inundation up in the Indiana area with flooding. So when you have that in play and you also have a high pressure sitting on top of us, not really playing in part here with a stationary boundary, but the high pressure, most certainly the impacts are being felt here in central Georgia. So we'll continue really just to watch the high pressure over the next couple of days, as it's really forecasting to just stay here with us. And, well, satellite and radar shot to kind of give you a better picture of how that's impacting us. You actually can see, well, the clockwise rotation. If you actually look there at the clouds, you actually can see that with that high pressure. But I'll zoom in, take the clouds away, show you nothing in the way of any rain here in central Georgia just yet. Any green you see here on your screen, well, that's just backscatter from the radar. Now, what the models are thinking, they've kind of been everywhere for today with rain. So starting this morning, we saw a little bit more moisture around this time, around the 11 o'clock hours you see here on your screen, now coming back with the amount of moisture. So this particular model run, in this time of year, everyone knows on here, you have to take these model runs with a grain of salt, just with the problems they have when it comes to initializing or showing what's currently in our atmosphere. So around 5 o'clock, we're seeing, well, I've been seeing rather, this line of storms kind of get more organized with rain around the 5 o'clock hour. And then it looks like 5 into 6, it's still staying a little bit more on the organized side. Now, I will add from 4 to 5 to 6 to 7, it looks like it does stay together and then breaks apart. So the reason that that's even an area of concern is, well, we're under that level 1 risk here in Central Georgia today. I'll show you in just a second. So you have that chance for any of these storms, if they are organized around the hottest time of the day, that 4, 5, 6 o'clock hour. You have mid to upper 90s, closer to that triple digit temperature. You have plenty of heat, you have plenty of lift in the atmosphere. That hot air wants to rise up, so that's why we continue to really just watch storms this time of year, and that's why we are under that level 1 risk. But like I said, I'll break that down in just a couple of minutes. But going forward this evening into the nighttime, around when the sun does set, we do lose the heat of the day, so you lose the amount of moisture there in the atmosphere. So going forward throughout the overnight here tonight, looking like, well, we stay mainly clear. Starting tomorrow off very similarly to what we have today on a clear note. And really just going forward from here, you have the pop-up stuff in the early afternoon and, well, evening hours, very similar. I know it seems like a copy and paste kind of forecast, and, well, it most certainly is. With the summertime pattern and with the high pressure sitting on top of us, this is exactly what you're going to expect this time of year. And then continuing through around the evening hours, much of which should clear out. Now, this is where the forecast gets a little bit more trickier and, well, as temperatures really start to skyrocket. So going forward, we turn the page into Monday morning, the new work week. We start out, well, on a drier note once more. But notice as we get into the early afternoon and evening hours, not that many, well, green blips you see here on the screen, meaning lack of rainfall. So you have the lack of cloud cover, the lack of rain. You don't really have anything to block the sun. You don't really have any moisture in the air, rain perhaps, to cool it off like you see with thunderstorms. So that leads to all indications that we will have a very warm day and allowing the sun to really heat us up very fast. So not going to be a big shocker for Monday to be the warmer day of the week next week. Now, really just going forward from here, well, this particular model run, that's what it's showing for the rest of today and through tomorrow. Now, with the HRRR, the HRRR model, which we like to also use and utilize, looking like same kind of situation here today, showing better rain chances, well, in mainly much of our northern counties, really north of I-16 and north of I-75, and then much of which should fizzle out by the afternoon and evening hours. And then really going forward into Sunday, kind of showing that same picture, a little bit more moisture to start the day on, well, tomorrow morning. And then the early afternoon and evening hours, better rain chances is what the HRRR is showing, as well as through the nighttime hours. So I say all that to say, you have a better rain chance going past the weekend right now, and I'll show you that in just a second. And, well, with the wind, you know, blowing a lot of the moisture around, the only thing really with this, you actually can see here on your screen, well, with that level 1 risk that we do have here today, you actually can see this right here just showing the winds as they do blow through here around the 4 or 5 o'clock hour. There's that line that I was talking about, all of this right here. You can actually see it blowing through here with the future wind gust. And, well, maybe cool it off, but just know with these thunderstorms, that's exactly what you'll get, but you'll also get a lot of moisture too. So we'll watch that for some potentials for maybe some isolated flash flooding, just depending on the amount of moisture there in the air. So here's what I've been talking about with the level 1 risk that we do have here today. So the potential threats here, like I said, strong winds, as you saw there with the future view wind gust, maybe some heavy downpours. It really just depends on the amount of moisture we have in the warmer time of the day. It depends really heavily on that. And then going forward throughout the overnight, well, as this stuff clears out, then the risk really decreases. But for today, you have that level 1 risk, and that's really all we're going to be dealing with here. So just know we have that really big potential for some of these storms to roll through, and we've seen it so many times, especially over the past couple days. Storms will roll through, some cells will push through some of our northern counties, and then when 20 to 30 minutes, you have a severe thunderstorm warning. So just something we're watching here today, just going to watch it, and that's about all we will do there. So going long range, how do rain chances look going forward from here? So it looks like Monday afternoon into Tuesday afternoon, well, kind of less of rain chances, but Tuesday afternoon going into Wednesday looks like better rain chances right now. So increased rain chances. Should probably update that on the 7-day forecast with this particular model run for Tuesday. And then Wednesday into Thursday, kind of that back into that summertime pattern. Once again, you have the decreased rain chances rather for Thursday onward, as it's kind of a copy and paste forecast even going into the weekend with long range models. But we do take a lot of that stuff with a grain of salt. But one thing we do like to look at, we love to look at these precipitation outlooks, and really this shows us, well, hey, what are the odds that we see above average rainfall? Well, as you see here on your screen, much of central Georgia, we're right there with that green, well, the red arrow actually pointing to, well, we're about 30 to 40% above normal. So we're not necessarily above average, but we're just a little bit above normal. So what does that really mean? Well, all that means is, well, we have an increased risk really for more rain and, well, an increased risk for better accumulation. But one thing is for certain, the amount of moisture we have in the air, at least over the next week or so, well, humidity is definitely not hard to come by, at least through next weekend. You see the dew points through the weekend staying in the mid to upper 70s, kind of, well, getting a little bit more drier air Monday into Tuesday. So that'll be the big thing, like I was talking about with the high pressure. We have a lot of that drier air. It can funnel a lot of that stuff in here. So that's why Monday into Tuesday looking like we have less of humid days, a little bit better drier air, but the trade-off being you get warmer temperatures. So we'll continue to watch that through the beginning of next week. And then going forward, dew points stay in the mid 60s. So still on the humid side, not necessarily in the very, very muggier side like we've been dealing with. So dew points, humidity, well, how does it look? How has the rain that we've been seeing really impacted our latest drought monitor? So as of August the 11th, these come out every Tuesday. So anything, well, every Thursday, the new ones come out rather, but everything that's on this one would have been shown upwards of this past, well, Tuesday rather. So everything on here, as you see, much of central Georgia, we're kind of out of the clear when it comes to our latest drought monitor. Now, you can actually see through much of, just looks like a line of abnormally dry areas. So this will most certainly, as of the next drought monitor next week, will come down just a little bit more. But one thing, well, with the drought, temperatures, well, yesterday, mid to upper, well, 90s, 96 actually the high yesterday. Looks like we're going to stay, well, above average at least over the next couple of afternoons is what you see here on your screen. So average around 92, 93, somewhere in that ballpark, what this graphic is saying as well. So getting closer and closer, though, guess what? That 100-degree mark. So we'll continue to watch that Monday into Tuesday. Some models, well, they're starting to come back is what it looks like right now. I've seen upwards of 104, 105, 106 for that actual air temperature, not the triple-digit feel-likes like we love to talk about. But going forward from here, as of the latest temperature outlook through this week, it does look like, well, shocker, shocker, a little bit, well, above average, more on the above normal, above average side for all really of Georgia and much of the southeast. So what do temperatures look like? Well, just to show you, at least through Saturday, well, here today rather, as the graphic does update on your screen, Saturday, mid to upper 90s. Okay, well, what about Sunday? Well, this model run showing mid to upper 90s as well, 97 here in the Macon area, Bibb County, 96 down in Lawrence County. But what about Monday? Now, I've talked that it's going to be probably the hottest day, well, of the year. We most certainly could come in contention with that with many areas in central Georgia, but showing 100 for that actual air temperature in Macon. So you add that in, and then you add in, well, what are we going to be feeling like? Well, if you have feel like temperatures in the upper 90s, closer to 100, feel like they're going to be even warmer. So 106 showing for here today, 104 down in Lawrence County, and then tomorrow, basically the same thing, but Monday, the warmer day of next week, looking like, well, a little bit on the warmer side, at least for all of Georgia and much further in the southeastern Georgia. So we'll continue really just to watch those triple-digit feel-like temperatures. And, well, you're probably wondering, okay, so triple-digit heat, triple-digit feel-like temperatures, well, when actually have we had a 100-degree day here yet? We actually have not. As of the latest, well, The earliest we've ever actually had one, May the 26th, and then average around July the 2nd. Actually have not hit that, like I said, just yet. Now, the latest, actually, September the 18th of, well, last year. So have yet to hit that just yet, but as we really get closer and closer towards the end of August, early September, we'll be watching more and more with the tropics and with hurricane season. So going forward from here, here's what we're currently dealing with the tropics. So we've had two areas we've been watching, and I'll actually get the pointer out just to give you a better idea here of what I'm talking about. So this area right here, this white X, actually was Invest 92. So actually, of the latest update from this morning, the invest right there, invest, well, not really anything anymore. The National Hurricane Center basically saying that it's not expected to develop anymore due to strong upper level winds and really just a lot of drier air. So the way hurricanes work, they do not interact well when you have drier air and when you have a lot of wind blowing really fast as you go higher up into the atmosphere. So that one really off the table. Now, when it comes to the other area right here, this particular area, Invest, well, as of the latest update, Invest 94, it has around a 10% chance of development over, well, the next 2 days, and then 10% development over the next 7 days. So here's the big takeaway, the big caveat here. Really, the past couple of days, we've seen percentages for this developing upwards of 50 to 60, now down 30 and 40 yesterday, now down to 10. So the National Hurricane Center rather, they're kind of now saying, hey, this storm may be, or this area of low pressure may actually be encountering a lot of upper level winds, a lot of shear, wind shear, a lot of drier air like this other Invest 92 is currently. So kind of trending down for any development over the next couple of days. But, well, as we do continue to track forward with hurricane season, here actually, if you're curious, at the beginning of hurricane season, this was the forecasted hurricane season for this season. Now, as of the latest, you can see the numbers actually changed there, going from 13 down to 9 for the total amount of tropical storms we see here in central Georgia, and then hurricanes down to 4, major hurricanes down to 1. So we take this kind of like a grain of salt, but we also use it as a guidance from an average from Colorado State as well as from NOAA. So we take all those numbers and really just kind of get an average or an idea of how the rest of the hurricane season will pan out. But one thing's for certain, if we do have another hurricane or anything form, the next name it will take on is Dolly. So Dolly will be the next named storm if anything were to form over the next couple weeks and months. So where do we stand currently right now with hurricane season? So here's just a better idea, bird's eye view of what we've been dealing with really since the beginning of hurricane season earlier this year. So hurricane season, well, generally speaking, we see our first hurricane, well, around this time actually, August the 11th. Today's August the 15th. So around this time, we actually do see a hurricane. Now, the peak, like I said, generally September 10th, September 11th, that general range, early September, and then as the season does end on November the 30th. So that'll be something we continue to watch really going forward with this map. We do utilize this a good bit because this always gives us a good idea of how the tropics like to act. Now, that being said, with the Super El Nino and everything with talks of that also is playing heavily into this with decreasing the amount of tropical activity we have been seeing and will see in the future. So really, all I'm saying there, we're just going to continue to watch the tropics going forward. Now, through the weekend, to kind of wrap all this whole extended forecast up, so here today, back into the mid-90s, not a big shocker here at all. That 30% chance of rain through the afternoon and evening hours, and we'll continue to really watch that, well, slight risk or level 1 risk there from the National, Storm Protection Center rather, here today. And then tomorrow, back into the upper 90s we go. Very copy and paste forecast for the temperatures. And then we continue really going forward from here, going to really continue to warm up each and every afternoon through Monday into Tuesday, really into Wednesday as well. It looks like we cool off back into the mid-90s, if you call it a cool off, to kick off the next football Friday night next Friday. And then, well, like I said, I'll leave you with this. Monday into Tuesday, Monday's looking like the warmer day for, well, really the majority of the year with the amount of drier air we'll have here. and the decreased rain chances. Looking like better rain chances Tuesday into Wednesday and even into Thursday as well. But the summertime pattern really will continue to take over here in Central Georgia through the weekend and through the middle and ending of next week. So other than that, the heat will continue to stick around today. We'll continue really just to watch the radar, watch the storms roll through the afternoon and evening hours, and should we have to, well, come on for any severe weather, we most certainly will. So everyone have a good Saturday afternoon and evening, and we will talk with you later on.